I want to bring someone in to talk to us about some new developments in this case. And he is a friend of my former show on the traditional old school lamestream media, as they call it. Wajahat Ali is the host of Democracy-ish podcast and the author of the Left Hook Substack. Wajahat, good evening, my brother. Thanks for
Don. Remember back in the day, you and I have some gray hairs when Friday was a slow news day in September and we could already plan our weekends, but not in 2025 when we have a corrupt, corpulent, vulgarian, white supremacist president who doesn't even care about the violence that he has unleashed in this country, the hate he has fostered. And look what is happening to young men in this country, specifically young white men. And one thing before we start, we just found out that the identity of the shooting that happened in Denver, because it wasn't just one shooting in the murder of Charlie Kirk. Also, we found out that the shooter is a young white boy who was radicalized online, and wait for it, was not trans, was not immigrant.
It wasn't a transgender woman or man, or no? It wasn't a black person?
Boy promoting white supremacist anti-Semitic messages.
Interesting. Now, wait a minute. Now, remember when they thought the Muslim guys were, they were the purveyors or perpetrators of terrorism, that they wanted to have a Muslim ban from the country. And then the FBI director, Christopher Wray, came out and said, wait, well, no, most domestic terror, our biggest terror threat in this country is domestic terrorism. And that is carried out by white men radicalized to the right. And so
the number one domestic terror threat in America is right-wing terrorism tied to white supremacy. It's the GOAT. No one comes close. When it comes to the overwhelming identity of mass shooters in this country, it is white men. The person who tried to assassinate Donald Trump was a young white man who was radicalized Republican, former Trump voter who came from a gun-toting family. What we know as of today, as of the suspect, this individual who was arrested, again, we're breaking news, Tyler Robinson, white, not trans, not immigrant, not Muslim, young white man, 22 years old, gun aficionado from a MAGA Republican family, according to his own grandmother, according to the Daily Beast article. His father was a former sheriff. They all into guns, MAGA, Trump, Second Amendment. So not left, not immigrant, not Muslims, not trans. And I wonder if there's going to be a ban on young white men.
I don't know if you remember when I asked that, and the right, they went off. They're like, they wanted my head. You are racist. I can't believe it. I'm like, well, I'm only saying the truth and what the actual stats show. But let's talk about some of the things. And I watched you today and you did a very good explanation of this. So if you look at his social media postings and other things, he had at least some association or affinity or fascination or interest in this Groyper group. And that is a racist group, isn't it? And which would lead you to believe that he's actually not a leftist, but go on, you explain.
So all this information is still coming out, folks, and we just look at the evidence of our eyes and we're connecting the dots. I want to remind everyone that Nick Fuentes, 2.5 years ago, the leader of the Groyper movement, a man who said Hitler was based, an America First Christian nationalist who's against immigrants, who against people of color, who wants America to be a white Christian nation, who promotes anti-Semitic conspiracies, who thinks that Charlie Kirk was not pro-white enough and right-wing enough. A man, Nick Fuentes, who leads the Groypers, which we'll talk about in a second, came into fame in the right wing because he used to troll Charlie Kirk and the Turning Point USA, because, folks, Turning Point USA and Charlie Kirk were not right enough for him. That Nick Fuentes. Yesterday, Don, because I'm a masochist who's been following this for a while, Nick Fuentes, when he went on his stream, do you know how many people were on his stream channel yesterday watching him?
I'm sure there were hundreds of thousands.
200,000. That Nick Fuentes, 2.5 years ago, dined with Donald Trump. Donald Trump dined with Nick Fuentes and post-anti-Semitic Kanye West. Donald Trump said, I had no idea who he was. After they told him this man is a racist, nativist, bigot, anti-LGBTQ, extremist, who is further to the right than Charlie Kirk, who used to troll Charlie Kirk, who used to call Charlie Kirk a fascist, who used to troll Ben Shapiro. Why, oh, why did you dine with Nick Fuentes? Will you condemn him? It's been 2.5 years, Don. And I hope any reporter who's watching, ask Donald Trump, do you finally condemn Nick Fuentes, the leader of the Groyper army, whom you dined with 2.5 years ago? Groypers, folks, is the name of this movement of these nativist, racist, neo-Nazi white nationalists who are further to the right of Charlie Kirk, who have exploded online in the past several years. Their avatar is Pepe the Frog, you know, that frog who sits like this. By the way, the shooter, Tyler Robinson, the suspect, what was his Halloween costume a few years ago? Pepe the Frog, right? Thank you, you got it. The engravings, the memes that everyone's talking about that are on the bullets, people are like, what is he talking about? That language, if you're reading this, you're gay, LMAO, notices bulges, right? Oh, Bella Ciao.
Explain to them what noticing bulges is. That is
noticing
anti-trans.
Bulges, OWO, what's this, is a phrase in the gamer community, but recently has, if you will, been hijacked by the Groyper community. For bulges, they're literally noticing bulges, so they call it transvestigating. When it comes to hey fascist catch, and you had that up arrow, right arrow, 3 down arrows, that is a reference to Helldivers 2. Helldivers 2 is a video game, and this guy was a huge video gamer, played Helldivers 2. I don't know if you saw this fantastic movie called Starship Troopers, directed by Paul Verhoeven. It was a send-up on fascism, right? It was a send-up on militarism. Helldivers 2 is a game where it's a satire on fascism, where you actually play as the bad guys. But when you do up arrow, right arrow, 3 down arrows, you drop a bomb. So it's, hey, fascist, catch this bomb, right? And the bomb being, of course, this bullet. And then the homophobia, which is just rampant. If you're reading this, you're gay, LMAO. All over 4chan, all over Groypers. In fact, they got the governor of Utah, if he was reading, remember that he was reading this all out? They were laughing on 4chan because he said the thing. What was the thing? He said, if you're reading this, you're gay, LMAO. Now, a lot of people, Don, are looking at this like, what the hell is all this? This is the subculture, the online culture that has radicalized white men, predominantly, not exclusively, and furthermore been co-opted by the right wing. QAnon also came from the right-wing swamp, and then Donald Trump and the right wing mainstreamed it, Don, because they realized, oh, it helps us, and it weaponizes these young men against who? Our enemies. Look at this past 3 days. They've weaponized all this rage against the left. Who got radicalized by QAnon? Vance Bolter, the white Trump voter who killed Melissa Hortman. Who got radicalized by QAnon? Ashley Babbitt. Oh, you know, the violent insurrectionist that they've made into a martyr. And folks, what I was warning people about is the following. I'll give an analogy real quick. Frankenstein's monster. Republicans nurtured this monster, fed this monster, and wanted to unleash this monster against the left. And I always ask them, what happens if the monster escapes the lab and turns on you? And folks, Nick Fuentes is further to the right of Charlie Kirk. He spent the last 5 years trolling him. They called Charlie Kirk a fascist, a sellout. All of these terminologies that we're seeing right now are consistent with Groyper stuff. The ADL that 5 years ago came out with Groypers, calling them a threat. And I want to remind y'all, 2.5 years ago, Donald Trump, who's currently the president of the United States, dined with Nick Fuentes, the leader of this movement, and post-anti-Semitic Kanye. And to this day, he has not condemned it. Don, sorry for my TED Talk.
No. I love that you are here and you're spouting the truth, because people don't understand this. They have been, they're portraying him, as I was talking to DL about just moments ago, they are portraying him as some sort of deity, or he's a martyr now, but as if he's a second coming. And I don't think, look, if he had died, sadly, and no one is condoning what happened.
No.
But if they wouldn't try to deify him, I don't think there would be the response from folks like us and people who are saying it's awful that it happened, but we must know who Charlie Kirk was. And there are a lot of us out here who are wondering why they're trying to give him state funerals and lowering flags at half staff and giving him the Presidential Medal of Freedom. Oh,
we know. I really appreciate what DL was saying. And, you know, my wife, who's not into this stuff, she had no idea who Charlie Kirk was. So she was telling me, man, is this guy like some humanitarian? He has a bigger send-off than Jimmy Carter. And then she read what he was about, and she was horrified. This is America's X-ray. The past week is an X-ray of America. Look at who this country chooses to lionize, sanitize, deify, and valorize in death, Don. You are a black man, I'm a Muslim man. You're a gay man, I'm a child of immigrants. In order for you and me to have statues and monuments named after us, we would have to create statues and monuments. This country named statues and monuments after racist, treasonous losers who lost the Civil War and chose to secede so they could own black people. Look at how they have valorized Charlie Kirk. I was watching the Commanders-Eagles game yesterday. Moment of silence for Charlie Kirk before the New York Yankees game. Look at the bullshit Ezra Klein piece. My God, look how they fired.
I heard an earful about that today. Oh my gosh.
Look at how they've fired Matthew Dowd for saying the truth. Look at how J.D. Vance skipped the 9/11 memorial and went and traveled with his casket. Charlie, what DL said, this is a man, I'm going to say it. I condemn Charlie Kirk's murder. I think you and me, you've had me on several times. We're on CNN. I've been very consistent. You can condemn the murder and call out Charlie Kirk's history of radicalizing young people with hate, his history of cruelty, his history of bigotry that he wore as a badge, a man who said that gay people should be stoned, a man who said that black people were better off during slavery, a man who, folks, supported the January 6th insurrection, a man who supported the white nationalist conspiracy, the Great Replacement conspiracy that radicalized people to commit violence, a man who was anti-trans, anti-woman, a man who said that the Civil Rights Act was a mistake, a man who used to sick his army out on researchers in the media, a man who was against gun control, and gun control could have saved his life. And after a mass shooting 2 years ago, said, well, you need to have some of these casualties for our Second Amendment right. Well, those casualties are fine because as long as the casualties were us, Don, right? Cruelty for you, civility for me. Safe spaces for me, terrorism for you. You can't criticize me, but I can criticize you and mock you. Charlie Kirk was a hateful piece of shit. And he was a man who used his talents to radicalize young people, to bully the most marginalized on earth. And it is perfectly fair and fine for the rest of us to not engage in a hagiography or a sanitization, but actually show his hateful rhetoric and how they actually radicalize young people. And Nick Fuentes of Groypers is further to the right of Charlie Kirk, said Charlie Kirk was not white enough, not pro-America first enough, and he called Charlie Kirk a sellout and a fascist. That's where we are right now, Don. And 200,000 people were on his stream last night.
Crazy. And we need to figure out why. This is a conversation for another day, Wajahat, why so many of these young people are attracted to Charlie Kirk, considering what were or still are considering the things that came out of his mouth and the things that he believed. Wajahat Ali.
Can I ask you this question real quick, Don,
sure,
if you don't mind?
Sure.
What does it say? We know about Charlie Kirk. He's out there. We know his rhetoric. He didn't hide it. He was proud of it. Anti-black, anti-immigrant, anti-transgender, anti-Muslim, anti-woman. What does it say about this country? And what does it say about our powerful institutions? And what does it say about Republican parties that has embraced him and made him into a hero in death? You tell me, Don.
Yeah. I don't think I think we get it. That tells you that they're what they want. That tells you that they're racist. It tells you that they don't care about actually being Christians. They don't care about religious freedom. They don't really care about the First Amendment. They don't really care about any of the other amendments in the Constitution that grants equal rights to all people. So they don't really care. What they care about is power, and they care about money, and they care about supremacy. That's it. Wajahat, thank you, brother. Please come back.
Thank you, sir.
Thanks everyone for watching. Your support means the world to us. So make sure you hit the like button and you subscribe to our channel to make sure that you never ever miss a video. We're live every day, 10 a.m. Eastern time. We drop even more content at 2 p.m. Eastern and 5 p.m. Eastern. And if you want more Don Lemon Show content, we'd love for you to become a member of the Lemon community, where you will receive access to special community posts. You'll get exclusive content and members-only live shows. So head over to our channel page or click the join button on this video. Again, thank you for watching. We appreciate your love and your support, and we will see you next time.